what's up? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Abby and I am a part-time reseller and I make videos about reselling here on YouTube. And if you don't know what reselling is, it is basically when you buy secondhand clothing, sometimes new with tag clothing, and you resell it online for a profit at its resale value. So I make videos about that here, and so if that sounds interesting to you, I'd love it if you'd stick around for this video. Hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any of my future videos, and give this video a thumbs up while you're at it. It really helps out my channel and my videos, and I would really appreciate it. So today's video is going to be about 2021 fashion trends and predictions. So this video isn't something like I've done before, but I'm really excited for it and I had a lot of fun researching it. It is so important for resellers to stay on top of the current trends and styles because that's what people are looking for. Styles and trends come into play with a lot of fast fashion brands, and since it is fast fashion, styles and trends can come and go, but there's always overarching styles that people are working towards. And something I always like to think about is if it's a new style, a lot of people will turn to the secondhand market to give it a try. So I think that is where resellers can come into play and provide these new styles and trends for people to try out. I know if I was trying to do a style that's new but I wasn't quite sure about it, I would turn towards a thrift store or the online secondhand market to try out a style. I don't want to pay full price for something without knowing if I'll like this style or not. So I have done some research on what I believe are going to be some big trends that we will see this year. Now, I am not, like a fashion major. I didn't study fashion in school or anything. I just basically did my own research, which you all could do on your own, and I've just compiled it into one video for you. So I've looked at different websites, I've learned from other resellers, other people who are watching trend setting, and I've compiled it into a video. So I'm going to link below some resources that I use in case you want to read more about it. And there is going to be some trends that I don't mention here today. I just picked out a few that I want to talk about. I think I have about 10 that I'm going to mention, so there's definitely more out there. And I also just kind of made some predictions on myself where I think the reselling market will go this year. So those will probably be the last ones, and so those I just kind of came up with. Thought I'd throw in my own little predictions, but take it with a grain of salt. That's clearly just my own thoughts, but I'm really excited. I think the current trends and styles are very interesting, and yeah, let's just get into them. First trend that I'm going to talk about, we have already seen become popular and explode on the market, and that is monochrome or monochromatic sets. So I don't know about you all, but I watched Inauguration Day and I was obsessed. My camera's freaking out. Okay, I was obsessed with the monochromatic outfits that day. That was definitely the biggest trend amongst the women who attended the inauguration. Here are a few of my favorite looks, but this can really be seen anywhere. This can be seen in matching loungewear sets, which is something that we saw a lot of last year, and it can definitely be a trend in business and career wear, as well as going out outfits, which I know is not quite, a huge thing this year, maybe at the end of the year, but I know black on black is a very trendy outfit to wear for going out per se. So I'm a big fan of this style. I think it's super easy for anyone to do. Now, I will say it is harder for resellers to necessarily sell this style. We can't always find matching sets, matching monochromatic sets, and just throwing in like a black top is not really going to, sell this style or this trend with just one piece. So I would say for resellers, this trend really only comes into play when you have both pieces of a set, maybe from retail arbitrage, or you get lucky at a thrift store. But I definitely think it's something to keep in mind and something to look out for, especially in loungewear and sweatsuits, which we saw last year. So the second trend that I think will be big this year based off of my research of other people's guessing, I combined them. It is bralettes / small shirts. And when I say small shirts, like crop shirts, but smaller. So I think bralettes were popular a few years ago, maybe like 5 years ago. And bralettes have always been popular on the festival scene, which obviously is not happening, but it's always been a big Coachella thing. However, it's making an even bigger comeback, I want to say. I don't know. So obviously I'm showing you all some examples, and the bralettes I think have always kind of been popular, but wearing them as a shirt is definitely becoming more popular because of kind of the small shirt aesthetic. And I will kind of talk about kind of where I think that comes from in a couple trends later, but I think we can expect to see a lot of people interested in bralettes and small shirts. And I think colorful small shirts would be the ideal. So the third trend, something I'm noticing while I'm going through my list and when I wrote it, is a lot of these trends could go together. And so I might talk about one and then come back to one in a minute. So they all kind of go together, so I might repeat myself a little bit, but just kind of keep that in mind, because again, I think it's all coming, you know, if that's the trend, of course, different styles of that trend will come into play. Does that make sense? I don't know. Okay, so the third trend is what is called midriff flossing. Now, to be honest, that is a new trend that a new terminology that I learned while researching this, but it's basically when your shirt has like ties, like midriff bands kind of tying around your body. I don't know. So it's a small shirt with like the material coming around to tie around your body. Now that will be incredibly hard as a reseller to show. But those are very popular. This is not a new style by any means. I definitely remember this being popular. Honey. I definitely remember this being popular, so it's not new by any chance. I was never into it, and I'm not sure how I feel about it now, but I still think, you know, it will be a very popular style. So this next trend is probably the one I hear the most resellers and anybody online talk about, and that is Y2K fashion, or 2000s fashion. Now, there's a lot that goes into this, and I'm not going to, you know, mention every single fashion. I'm not going to talk about low-rise jeans because I hate it and I will never do it, and I don't think I'll ever try and sell it. Do you want through? Okay, so Y2K fashion though, there's a lot that goes into it. So I will mention that the small shirt aesthetic I think comes from Y2K fashion. So, you know, that could have been thrown in here with that, but I don't really see bralettes as Y2K fashion. But 2000s fashion, a big trend that we have already begun to see is spell out apparel. So what I mean by this, which I didn't even realize that people called these items this until I got into the reseller business, but spell out is when a company literally spells out their company name on their clothing. So like a Gap sweatshirt basically is what a spell out is. Now, why is Gap so popular right now? I know we've all talked about it, but that is because of influencers. So one thing that is very common throughout all of these trends is it's what the current influencers are wearing, and a lot of them are wearing Y2K fashion, including spell out graphics. Miss Emma Chamberlain is probably one of the biggest influences on, hey, please ignore honey. Emma Chamberlain is probably one of the biggest influences on fashion with the younger crowd, for sure, with amongst Gen Z. And she has been photographed, I think, a couple times wearing Gap spell out hoodies. So that is why it's so popular. And not only that, not only Gag, but I think Champion, Fila, Tommy Hilfiger, any of those I think could do well. And I don't know if this is considered, I don't know if this is considered spell out, but spell out colleges or university sweatshirts is also very big. So anything like that. And then also tiny bags. I didn't know how else to say this, but tiny little shoulder bags are really popular. That was definitely like a 2000s fashion. So then another one is sheer shirts. And I have to give a shout out to my friend Faith here on YouTube and Instagram because she first posted about this that I saw. And I did some more research, and it's definitely a trend that I think is coming back and can fall into the 2000s fashion category. And it's specifically tighter sheer shirts, not like, you know, the neon button-ups you got from Kohl's that we all used to wear, but definitely the definitely like the tighter sheer stuff you can hopefully see in these pictures here. But I think those are going to make a comeback. I personally don't like them, but I think they will be trendy again this year. So the next trend is actually a color, and I think this one's interesting. So the style that I think will be big this year, especially when it comes to fall and the winter season that we're in right now, is the color brown. And I think this is interesting because brown has never really been a popular color before, I feel like. And I do quickly want to mention the brown North Face. We all know, if you find it, it's a golden ticket because of celebrities who have worn it, the brown puffer North Face. If you find it, pick it up. But just brown in general is going to be really popular. I've seen a lot of people talk about this. And so, I don't know, I think it's really interesting because also on the other end, a trend that people are predicting is like bright colors or pastels or anything, but then you also have brown thrown in there. And I think that's interesting because we've seen a big neutral shift in the past few years, I feel like, but now it's brown's turn, I guess. I don't know. Very popular on my Pinterest feed, on my other Instagram where I follow a lot of influencers. Definitely something I think we're going to see a lot of this year. The next trend, again, it's not an old one. I don't think it's 2000s. I think it's like mid 2000s, maybe like 2010 or a little bit after. But cutouts are coming back, specifically like cutouts in tops and dresses. And I kind of threw this one in here as well because I saw this in my research, but netting, kind of like fish netting kind of. I don't think netting was as popular as cutouts have been, but I remember cutouts being really big in dresses. I don't know, maybe when I was in high school, I don't know, but it's not definitely 2000s, but it's not a new trend from what I can remember. I don't know, anybody can correct me on any of this. I'm just trying to be helpful. But yeah, so cutouts in shirts and dresses, a lot of times it will be keyhole cutouts or triangle cutouts. This is definitely something really big and something that you can look for in the warmer months. So the next trend I have not seen a lot of resellers talk about yet, and I'm surprised because I've seen it in a lot of influencers, and that trend is corsets. So I almost threw this one in with bralettes and small shirts, but I decided to keep it separate because you can have a corset as a top or as a dress. And so I've seen some influencers that I follow already posting corsets. I've seen people search for it at stores and everything. So I don't know. I think this one's interesting. I don't remember this ever being a trend before. I could just be wrong, but I don't ever remember this trend. So I don't know. If you see a corset, maybe pick it up if it's the right price and see what happens. I don't know how broad this one will be. But I have seen quite a few people post about corsets, and I think it's been on the runway. This is going to sound really bad for the type of video I'm doing right now, but I don't pay attention that much to the runway. But I think it was popular on the recent runways. I could be wrong. But yeah, corsets are making a comeback, and I don't know if I would ever wear one, but I kind of like the style. What do you guys think? I kind of like it. It's kind of feminine, but also kind of edgy, and you can kind of play it a lot of different ways. Again, I don't think I'd ever wear it, but I don't know. I think it could look really cool. So the next trend is also another color, and I kind of made this multiple things, but the main color is pink. So here's the thing about pink. I love pink, but I feel like growing up, pink was kind of looked down on for fashion. I don't know. Tell me if you all think this too. But now pink is making a comeback and everybody's really into pink, I feel like. And not only pink, but like other pastels or jewel tones or something. Yeah, I even, like, pink was specifically called out in some of the research that I did. So anything pink, throw it up. I know we're all looking for pink right now because of Valentine's Day, but I think pink will definitely be something that we see throughout the entire year. I think it's an easy color. Hello, camera. Okay. I think pink is an easy color that can be put into any season. You might not think it's a fall or winter color, but you know, you can definitely make it a sweater or a cardigan, and there's definitely been a trend towards colors and less neutrals. I think we all went through our neutral phases and vibes and styles, and now everybody's kind of trying to go out of that. And so yeah, pink is a color that I see definitely being very big this year. So two more trends that I kind of saw in research, and then I'm going to talk about some reseller trends that I think are going to happen this year that are just based off of my opinion. Anyway, the next two trends are sleeves. So again, I feel like this was a big thing not that long ago, but now it's new, like trendy again. I don't know. Does anybody else feel like that for any of these? Like, I feel like these aren't old styles. Like, they were recently trendy and now they're trendy again. But sleeves, so like statement sleeves, specifically on sweaters. So, you know, it may be a while until we can sell a lot of these again since we're getting out of the winter season, but sleeves or even short sleeves like puff sleeve, cap sleeves, you know, I even think necklines could play into this, especially with the short sleeve shirts, but basically just any fun sleeve. I also feel like people are looking for ways to dress up their basics, so I feel like any neutral basics with a fun sleeve is also something to look out for. And then the last trend I want to talk about is lines and contrast piping. So that means when the lines are going down the side of the clothing. So basically a line down the pant, a line down the sleeve, a line down the dress, something like that. That is something that we've kind of seen throughout the years, I feel like, but it definitely is coming back this year, or it is becoming bigger this year. I don't know. That one's pretty simple to find, and I think lines are always trendy. They're just trendy in different ways. You know, like horizontal stripes were big, black and white stripes were big for a while, vertical stripes were big, and a lot of times we had like the rainbow stripes. I think that was big recently. So yeah, I think the contrast piping is what it's called as well, because it's usually when the stripe along the side is a different color, obviously, than the piece, so it can stick out. But yeah, so that I think will be big, and I think we've already started to see that as well. Those were the trends that I saw consistently when I was researching this. But as always, I feel like I should give a disclaimer. I don't, you know, this is just my opinion on what I saw other people talking about. So, you know, if you're gonna pick something up, always do your research, always do your comps. I think that's a given for most resellers, but you know, do your research, do your comps, pick up what you like, pick up what you think is trendy. I just wanted to provide some basis information for you all. I'm so sorry my camera keeps going out of focus. I don't know what the deal is. Anyway, so those are like the trends that a lot of people in the fashion world are talking about. Now I'm going to talk about two trends, one trend. So I have two kind of predictions where I think the reseller world will kind of shift to this year. So my first thing is, I think people are going to get tired of wearing loungewear. I know I'm already there. I think a lot of people are there too. And I think just, you know, especially this first half of 2020, people are still stuck at home. I know I'm working at home for my full-time job until at least May, probably later, and you know, who knows. But I think people are tired of just wearing sweats all the time. And so I think we're going to see a trend towards, I don't know the word to describe this, but like leveled up loungewear. Does that make any sense? I'm talking about like better looking sweaters, hoodies, cardigans, statement cardigans, things like that, I think. I don't really know how to describe it, so hopefully I can pop in some pictures here. But I think that we're going to see a trend out of loungewear. Now, it's definitely still going to be very popular and people are still going to buy it, but just I personally think that the world, as the further we get into 2021, the world's going to get tired of wearing sweats and sweatshirts all day. Obviously, people will still buy them, but I think we will get to that point this year. And then I also think that when the pandemic slowly starts to get better and life starts to get back to normal, which will not actually happen until probably next year. However, I think we will start to be able to do some more normal things later this year. And I think we're going to see a big rush towards normal day pre-pandemic clothing. And what I mean by that is I think people are going to rush and realize that they need new career wear or work wear or blazers or pants or something. And I also think people are going to rush towards that because a lot of us either gained weight or lost weight during the pandemic. I've seen both sides. I've seen people say that they gained a lot of weight during quarantine, and I've seen a lot of people take advantage of the quarantine and work on themselves fitness-wise and lost a lot of weight. So I think there's going to be definitely a big rush towards that. So definitely with career wear, I think we're going to see a spike in that. I know a lot of people weren't selling it last year, but I also think, you know, there's going to be an upward trend in dresses and going out tops and things like that. Obviously you could, you know, anybody could say this and I think everybody can agree with me, and it's kind of like, duh, of course we're going that way. Like, of course people are gonna want normal clothes again. But I don't know, I feel like it's gonna hit people head on. I don't know. Let me know what you all think. That's just kind of, I mean, I know that's how I feel personally. I feel like I've grown a lot during this period, especially like fashion and style wise. And I've also, like, I've personally lost weight in this pandemic. So I know me, thinking about me going back to the office, I'm like, oh shoot, I have to get a lot of new clothes. Am I doing that now? No. So I'm kind of just going based off of my own experience and how I feel about how I'll eventually have to go back to the office and wear stuff. So anyway, I know that you're probably like, Abby, we know this. Why are you telling us? Just thought I'd throw it out there so we're all prepared. I did also want to throw in their dresses. I think dresses will start becoming more popular because people can easily wear them from home and they're so comfortable. I wear dresses a lot, especially for the spring. I think dresses will become very popular for the springtime. Anyway, that is all I have for you. I hope you maybe learned something from this. I hope I wasn't too all over the place. This is my first sort of like talking about fashion video, so I don't know, I just thought it'd be a fun topic to cover, and I think it's really interesting, and again, it's so important for resellers to stay on top of these trends. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you've learned something, and if you made it this far, leave a comment down below and tell me which trend you are not looking forward to coming back. Low-rise jeans. Okay. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you haven't already, I would really appreciate it if you would subscribe to my channel, give this video a thumbs up, and again, let me know which trend you are not looking forward to coming back. Or out of all the trends I mentioned, which one is your least favorite? Anyway, again, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye!